So, National Coming Out Day was on Friday, and I think all of us here know what the term coming out means. It's like revealing a secret that only you know to someone you trust. It's no longer denying you are who you are. It's lifting the cover from on top of your lamp and letting the true you shine out. It's saying to everyone present, my name is Jonathan Paul Cooper, and for those who weren't previously aware, I like trains! But more seriously, I think what Whitman put my sentiments best in his poem Song of the Open Road. From this hour, I ordain myself loosed of limits and imaginary lines. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. All seems beautiful to me. Whoever accepts me, he or she shall be blessed and shall bless me. Coming out is a rite of passage for those of us that are part of the LGBTQ+ community. We have to do it at least once in our lives. Most of us will have to do it many times. I really wish that I could go back and tell my younger self that I wouldn't experience any of the negative things that I'd read about that happened to people who came out. That I wouldn't be disowned or kicked out, and that there was nothing to be scared of. That knowing the me I was, I'd ignore myself. I realised I was gay when I was around 14, and I found it very difficult to cope with. I thought at the time the Bible condemned homosexual people, and I assumed that condemnation would carry through to my Christian family, my Christian school, and my Christian church. I am still not out of my old church, and I pray this can change. So I hid my lamp. I attempted to bury that part of myself so far down inside that it felt like I forgot who I was. But like a corrosive acid, my internalized homophobia began to consume me. At first it was mental health problems, depression, and anxiety. It was at this point that I began to pray for help. After all, God won't burden us with more than we can carry. I prayed not to be relieved from the depression or the anxiety. I prayed to be normal. I prayed to be straight. When asking to be cured didn't work out, I somehow got it into my head that baptism would fix everything. The act of washing away my sin would make me pure and whole again. Well, that happened 10 years ago soon, and if it had worked the way I wanted, I wouldn't be here now talking to you. But things continued like that for a couple of years, with me growing ever more uncomfortable in my skin. But one night, my perspectives began to change. The wind moaned down the alleyway that separates our house from next door. The sound of swaying trees could be heard through the locked window, and next door on the other side had wind chimes. Suddenly, all the noise, the moaning wind, the swaying trees, and wind chimes stopped. A voice that wasn't my speaking voice, nor my thinking voice, rang through my mind, repeating the same phrase 3 times, growing in intensity each time. My child, you are loved. My child, you are loved. My child, you are loved. And I felt at peace for a moment, and then the noise of the clanging metal and the swaying tree and the moaning wind returned. But the experience has stayed with me. Prior to my windy night, hang on, that sounds like something else. Another altogether less spiritual tongue that I won't gas on about. Yes, I did just put a fart joke in my sermon. I make no apologies for that. This is me. Prior to that night, I didn't think there could be a place for me among God's children. Now, I know for certain that there is one, and it's as I am, not as the me I thought I should be. I began the long, slow process of preparing to come out, of uncovering my lamp, something that is still happening today. The Bible passage we heard earlier is an example of the cover being lifted from the light of Jesus' divinity. He essentially came out as the Messiah. And like someone coming out for the first time, he asked the man he healed to keep it quiet, keep it a secret. This didn't happen, and instead Jesus was outed to the point where he couldn't go anywhere without drawing a crowd. And he had to stay in, as we heard, the lonely places. But with the briefest of glimpses, a man was healed of, depending on the translation, leprosy, or a more generic but still dreaded skin condition. The Greek word covers a variety of conditions, not just leprosy. At my other church, we've started a project where we're reading the Bible in a year, and we recently reached the story of King Uzziah in 2 Chronicles 26, who was struck with, the version that we read from, a dreaded skin disease for attempting to burn incense at the temple in Jerusalem. Other versions, such as the NIV, use the term leprosy, which to my understanding doesn't really break out on the forehead. But I could be wrong. At the time, it made me think, is this what happened to me? Whilst I don't believe we're punished by God in this way anymore, it still prompted the question from 2 of 3 of us present. So, I started to develop psoriasis shortly after realising my orientation. Psoriasis is an autoimmune condition. I don't know if you can see it, but it's especially angry today because I watched it. It's an autoimmune condition. The body basically fighting itself. A red, angry rash with a crusty white surface that started at the back of my scalp and slowly spread. Up and over the top of my head, onto my forehead, down the side of my face and into my ears. It has also gotten into the joints of my hands and feet, which has caused intense pain. The treatments prescribed have never had much impact and in some cases even made it worse. But it's only been recently that I've considered the possibility that they might have been linked, that the turmoil in my heart and soul could be reflected on my forehead. It seemed like a silly idea, until I read about it in Vicky Beecham's autobiography, Undivided. She's found that autoimmune conditions are more common in LGBTQ plus people. Maybe the stress and pain caused by feeling that you don't belong, that you're different, that you're wrong, is responsible for more than just mental health problems. But since I have accepted myself, come out to myself, and become more comfortable in my own skin, the spread of the psoriasis has slowed. I haven't noticed any in roughly the past about 2 years. And I haven't had to take pain relief for my joints regularly in the past 6 months. And my depression's also improved. The anxiety not so much, I'm still a work in progress. But like the man in the scripture passage, I'm being healed. Like I asked for when I was 14, I'm being healed. It hasn't come in the way I asked for all those years ago. But I am being healed, not of my orientation, but of the root causes that cause me to reject the me I should be. I am becoming that me, the me I'm made to be. It's slow going, and there are still things that I'm working through, but I'm on my way to being me again. So I say to anyone who is listening that has their lamp covered at the moment, the advice that I would attempt to give to the me I was: let your light shine. Allow yourself to be yourself. You are better than you think and hold more goodness than you know. This beautiful world has a place for the you that you are, not the you that you think others want you to be. Don't assume how people will react, and most importantly, remember that you are loved. That love isn't conditional on any rules or dependencies or prerequisites. That love isn't earned or bought or exchanged for goods or services. It just is. Child of God, you are loved. And I'd like to close by quoting part of the next song. Will you love the you hide if I but call your name? Will you quell the fear inside and never be the same? Will you use the faith you found to reshape the world around, with my sight and touch and sound in you and you in me? I've long been a fan of these words, and I think I can finally answer your question. It's taken a long time, and it's been a difficult journey, but I think I can now say with absolute certainty, yes! Thank you for listening.